How many people were in the lobby?
Uh, we now have Jen and Laura joining us. Jen and Laura.
That's okay. I bet we have more people join than actually responding in emails, but I guess not. I
Yeah, no, not yet. So if
feel like you'd be more concerned about how your trash gets handled, but
yeah.
each their own.
Well, we are officially. I don't even know what time it is. What time is it? 8:04. So not too bad. Sorry for those who are waiting. We had to handle a couple of other issues. So now that that's done, I'll turn it over to you, Eric.
Oh boy. Okay, so the first thing, I guess I really don't even need a screen share for this. The first thing we just need to go over was the townhome and the pool house roofs. Those are all completed. We did the final walkthroughs. I'm still waiting for them to finish all the paperwork for the warranties because they have to register their work with the actual manufacturer and then also to get the manufacturer's warranty. And then they have to, because they have the certification that's whatever their fancy title is for it, but basically also guarantees the work. So if there's an issue with a leak or something, they have to come back out and send one of their master roofers to come and fix it. So they're finishing that paperwork for those two warranties that we need this week. Ashley should have mailed me the last insurance check. So once I get all the paperwork from them, I'll give them the last, I think it's about $17,000 worth of checks that we owe them from insurance. But once all that's finalized, we'll be moving the money from the reserves to cover that expense. So for the 4 townhome units, their total deductibles were $19,454.17. So we would be moving money from the townhome reserves into operating to cover that expense that's been paid out of operating. And then $1,892.80, so under $2,000 from the common one to cover the pool house. Anybody have any questions on that?
I think I'm good on it.
And for anyone that actually tracks the monthly expense reports that Ashley sends me every month that I have to go through and make corrections on, we created a whole separate line item because it was going to be too hard to track the checks going in and out because they don't do a great job tracking stuff from bank accounts and having it hit the line items correctly. So we just made a whole nother line item. So when that line item's done and these checks are paid out, it should be at the deductible amount is what's left over in that account is what's been paid out. And then it's just going to get reimbursed from reserves to zero out. But that way it was all able to be checked off in the same line item. So if someone wants to check it like 4 or 5 years from now, it's easier to follow. So that's all I had for townhome roofs. The other thing we had was trash, unless someone had any other exciting topics for today.
I don't have anything about that.
Nope, I'm okay with that.
All good here.
Okay.
Boyce, do you want to go over the trash options just so it's on the recording? And I can go over, I guess, what got emailed that I sent everybody.
Sure. All right. So this is Boyce. The last couple of weeks, we've been looking at options for our trash service. The story started when our current valet service gave us notice that they couldn't continue to give us the same trash service that we were having for the same rate. We are currently at, I believe, $14 a unit, and they had to go up to $22 a unit to continue the same type of service. The other options are competitively priced at about the same point. Most services want everybody to have a 96-gallon trash can stored at their unit and then have one of the semi-automated trucks come in and pick them up. That is an option, but again, an expensive one, and it takes more space at the units. So another option we looked at was dumpsters, and there's lots of different ways we could do the trash service, but it just boiled down to the dumpsters were probably the best idea. Not only does it save us money every month, but it makes the service faster. They can just do 2 dumpsters emptying faster than they can do 64 trash cans. And we also have the option to do the bulk pickup if we decide to. It can be put in budget if we want. So that is everything. Did I miss anything?
I think it was
Yep, sounds all right.
I mean, the gist of it was we're losing our current service and increase the price and go to a cluttery valet type similar service, or go to the dumpsters, which is frustrating, but it's our options. And when I say valet, I mean 96 gallon containers, 64 of them sitting out every day, everywhere. So.
All right, well, just so we have a record of it, we posted on the Facebook page, the HOA Facebook page, and then linked it to the neighborhood page and the townhome page, which I don't think anyone even uses that townhome page. I think that had like 17 views last time I looked. But we put out a flyer that said, hey, here's the 3 options: dumpsters, keep valet for more, 96 gallons for more. Please email me and let me know what your choice is. Out of 64 townhomes, we received 4 emails. So I guess a general consensus is they don't care how the trash gets handled, because we did put flyers on both mailboxes and entryways to every single townhome. So unless someone was just gone for the past week, which maybe some people were with spring break, but I wouldn't think it would be 90% of the owners or residents. But out of those responses, it was dumpsters, or one person was okay with paying more for valet, but just did not want the 96 gallon cans. So the consensus from that, and then the person I talked to, was to go with the dumpsters. I think, I don't know if Matt or Boyce talked to anyone else. I think it was generally dumpsters across the board from talking to folks.
It was also price sensitivity. People seem to be sensitive to price increases, and it's an understandable conversation to have there. So that it was either people wanted dumpsters and were okay with that, or they were sensitive to price increases and didn't want dumpsters. So the best we can make out of this is to keep our prices low and go with dumpsters for that 1-year contract.
I think I talked
What
to,
was the 1-year contract with? 'Cause I know we had bids from a couple different dumpster providers.
I'll have to later. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
All right, while Matt's talking, let me look it up.
I think I talked to a total of 4 people about it. 2 were good with dumpsters. They definitely didn't want to go up to 96 because it would take them forever to fill it up. And the other one didn't want to drag out a 96 to the curb. I think the main concern was smell and curb appeal on it for dumpsters.
And to answer your question, it was BCS, Bravo Charlie Sierra, and the contact's name was Adam.
Does anyone know anything about BCS? And they don't service our neighborhood for like regular pickup.
They were recommended by Signature Waste. The Signature Waste was the one that I spent the most amount of time with, trying to come up with a 96 gallon trash can solution. Very willing to do the service just as we have it now, except he'll have the semi-automated truck and he'll just make it work when they put it out on the curb. But still, again, $22 a unit. Anyway, my conversation with him led me to BCS. That's how I got there.
Okay. And then was there a recommendation between the 6 and the 8 cubic yard dumpsters?
He didn't have a recommendation. The price difference is not, it's negligible. It's a matter of like $50 a month or something like that. As far as the size, I hadn't given it much thought. Does anybody have any, you're not talking about too much bigger of a container here. The one conversation we hadn't had was whether we want to actually put a lock of some kind on the door, and the residents will of course have the combination. But it just takes one resident to keep it open and critters get in there. But I wanted to throw that out there too.
In the chat that we had talked about, I did a brief calculation because every townhome's allowed a 50-gallon trash can. So doing that calculation, it was at minimum 2 8 cans.
Okay, two eight yards.
6 wouldn't be enough.
Okay. And I had talked
we could
to,
probably do 1 6 and 1 8, but it makes more sense to just do 2 8.
and we hadn't priced this out. I imagine it'll be 50% more, but another option, I had talked to a former HOA president that I know, and what he had done was smaller containers, smaller dumpsters with more frequent emptyings. So he did it twice a week, and that seemed to keep the trash, keep the mess out of there. I don't know how much I want a truck coming through there emptying 2 dumpsters twice a week, but that's also something that was put to me. And that was as recent as a couple days ago. I talked to him.
That was actually something we did at one point. We used to have 2-time-a-week pickup, and we staggered it like Mondays and Fridays so that you would have a pickup after the weekend and a pickup right before the weekend. What we found was on the weekends, the dumpsters would get massively full from everybody who was like selling or moving out, renters moving out, and they'd go and pile up mattresses and stuff like that. So we'd have to clear it out Mondays and Fridays. And then what we ended up having happen a lot of times was, because all the contracts allow for them to kind of shift and float their days because of holidays and weekends, you end up paying for 2-time-a-week pickup, and about half the year you get 1 day a week pickup, and you just spend a lot of time getting frustrated that they don't come when they're supposed to.
Okay.
That's just kind of our experience in the past. Doesn't mean that's what would happen again, but that's what I saw a lot of.
I like the option to have an ad hoc bulk pickup, because we can do the same thing with them. If anything gets out there that's not supposed to be there, if it starts to get messy, we can order a bulk pickup. And that seems to make more sense to me.
Is the bulk pickup? It's not extra, right?
It is. It's $150 when you come out there and do it.
Oh, okay. All right. No problem. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Could I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
With the valet pickup, like if we were to stay with the company that we're at and they continue to do the valet, would it still be just 1 time a week for the additional, whatever, $8?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And then if we went with the dumpsters, you previously said maybe 2 dumpsters in the townhome area. Where might they be placed? Any ideas?
I think we need to clarify something though. You're saying if we stayed with the current company with the valet pickup, when we say valet pickup is the current service you have where you can put whatever can out. We would be going to, and I want to make sure I'm understanding correctly, Boyce, we're talking about our current company has said they're not going to do that anymore. It has to be a 96-gallon container, right?
No, he said that he would match the price for what everybody else is doing at $22 a unit to do exactly what we're doing now. I hesitate advising that because he's going to run into the same problem, the same labor shortage, and we might be in this position later on. But that is what he told me he would do.
Okay, that's a little bit different. I had missed that at some point. That's why I'm like, wait a minute. When we're saying valet pickup, are we saying that he'll still do it? And yeah, the whole reason he can't do the whole reason he gave that he can't do the current stuff is because the guy who he pays to work on the back of the truck got hit by a car, isn't available. He doesn't have the manpower for it anymore. So that's a little concerning. But and as far as where the dumpster was go, they would go back where they were before. They'd go over where the parking spots are, right?
It's off Dunrobin, halfway up. for people that are new to the neighborhood that don't
That would
know
be
where it
neat.
was. Yeah.
We'll just have to get
Backside
the
of
one guy to
7-Eleven.
move his car or tow it if he won't move it, but he moves the other one, so I'd assume it still runs and he can move it out of there.
Okay, so there wouldn't be one like around the Burke Hill area.
That is right near the Burke Hill. It's up the street. I live on Burke Hill. It's, if you go head up towards the pool, it's on the right. It's that black
Okay.
car that's parked out there.
Okay, and last question, is there any recycling that would be done, or is that still not going to happen regardless?
None of the quotes that we have provided include recycling. Everything, if we're to do recycling, it increases the price.
Okay. That's all I needed. Thank you.
Mhm.
So you guys have some discussion about it, or what do you want to, I mean, I know we talked offline quite a bit. You want to kind of round up where we kind of came with thoughts on it and why we're
So,
thinking everything?
so do you have, is there any, maybe I missed something, is any of the quotes got 2-time pickup in it?
No, none of the quotes that we have are for 2 times a week pickup. It was an idea that was presented to me over the weekends, and I just thought I would bring it up here. We can get it. And the price, where's my chat? I think the price was something like, does anybody recall off the top of your head? The dumpster was $258 a month for 2 8-yard containers. So figure, I don't know, $300 and $325 a month if we were to do twice a week pickup. But like Rob had said, you have to then manage whether you're going to get it twice a week. And I tend to agree with him. The less we have to manage there, the better. But it's, I
Right.
mean, I'm open to it, of course, because that was something that we have tried. And it's something that another HOA president has done with success. But somebody would have to be at the townhomes and just keep an eye out and say, you know, they didn't come this week or what have you. I don't know if anybody wants to do that, or if we just get 2 bigger containers that will suffice and do it once a week.
Right. So I'm with bigger containers and once a week for the dumpsters. So I'm, bigger containers and once a week. Sounds good.
I agree. And if it helps anybody, the contract we're doing with these guys is for 1 year. That actually, it's a good thing for us, a good thing for them too. But if we spend that time, we find out that it's just a train wreck and we don't like it, we know when our contract ends, we can start shopping a few months before then, and really have a good conversation with the townhome owners as well to see if you want to, you know, have the $8 a month increase and go back to the 96-gallon valet service. But the 1 year contract is really what's got me to vote for dumpsters. So we have the opportunity to give it a shot, but we're not locked in for 3 or 5 years like everybody else is pitching. Oh, by the way, Waste Management came back and said they would do a 1 year contract, but that just seems shady to me. I wouldn't go that route.
Eric, you want to weigh in a little bit here?
Nope, I said we were gonna end up with dumpsters before we started all this, so. I'm
We
fine
did.
taking
It was
a-
my fault that I went down the rabbit hole. I really did try not to get dumpsters, everybody. I really did.
Well, you know, and I think that's something I'd like to point out, actually. You know, some of us have been down this road. You know, unfortunately, this has been an ongoing issue over the years, and we've been down this road. So when we first started talking about this, there was a lot of back and forth in our, you know, we have a chat group where we just kind of discuss the issues going on in the community, and the new board members were, can we do this? Can we do that? And we kind of, on a side note, we were off to the side kind of chuckling. Eric was saying, hey, can we just move this along and vote for dumpsters? And I'm like, no, we have to go through this process because there might be something new that pops up. You know, maybe we haven't seen the best way to do it. So we kind of figured we were going to end up at dumpsters, but I really appreciate the effort you guys put in going down the rabbit hole, trying to figure it out. Yeah, I think we are kind of where we are. So unless you guys have some other key point, I mean, I did miss in all the discussions that that Value was talking about still being able to do any kind of valet service, which kind of confuses me. Like I said, that wasn't something that was the whole problem. So it is what it is there. But unless somebody's got some other thing that they want to throw on the table, I think we can just go ahead and put it to a vote.
Are we going to screen it, or since it's a 1 year, are we going to bother putting a fence around it to start out with if it just doesn't work, or wait till that year ends?
I think for two reasons. One, I mean, it's a cost. So, we throw a fence up and we don't even know exactly what configuration we're going to end up with. And two, we don't know what we're going to end up with. So I think ultimately, like, all goes together. Like, why spend the money when you're not really sure what you're going to do? I mean, I think we should at least give it a few months and see how it goes, and maybe we come up with a temporary solution or an idea. But I don't think it's a good idea to go in there and throw up a fence all over the place and recreate that whole setup again when we're not sure what we're going to do in the long run, personally. And I also agree with what was being said earlier about, those long-term contracts. I hate those because we've gotten trapped there before. So the 1 year contract is appealing.
I can agree with that. At least give it a little bit of time to see what we're thinking. And I understand the appeal to having a fence. If it makes you feel any better, the equipment that's going to be dropped, the dumpsters that are going to be dropped are supposed to be new. So we're not going to have something unsightly out there. But yeah, I would like to see a fence around it, but I also know what happens when you put a fence between the dumpster and the fence. Dressers and mattresses fit in there. And it just happens all the time. I would like to see what it looks like without a fence for a little bit, and then revisit that later if that's something that we want to do.
If we had a dumpster, would they really pick up mattresses and
That one, thank you.
junk like that?
No, the dumpster is just a truck that comes out with two little arms, and they throw the thing onto the back. If there's mattresses or old TVs or box springs or dressers or what have you that sit out there, all they're going to do is pick up the dumpster, throw the dumpster in the back, put it back down, and drive away, leaving the mattresses, box springs, and dressers. And that's one of the challenges with having dumpsters is people will just take their refuse and they'll throw it out there and walk away. That's it.
Right.
And that was why I went down the rabbit hole for 2 weeks trying to find out how not to do this. But really, this is the best solution because the amount that we save does kind of allow for us to order a bulk pickup if we need to. And logistically, the way that works is they have a truck called a stake body. It's just a flatbed truck with rails around it. And guys go at night and they'll go the route, and somebody orders a bulk pickup. They'll take the stuff, they'll throw it in the back. It's mildly expensive, but it is nowhere near what it would be if we were to go to $22 a unit for those 96-gallon trash cans. So for a year's contract, I think it's worth the risk.
Well, you got the one-off service too with A&G. We've paid them in the past to come out and haul things away, mattresses, couches, things like that. So there's always that. And then you never know. I mean, you can always turn to somebody in the neighborhood and say, hey, man, you got a truck, you want to make a little extra money. So there's options for getting bulk items out of the way, but you want to make it difficult for people to drop bulk items off, and you want to make it a pain. Like if they get caught jumping a couch, you want it to be a pain for them so that they don't do it.
Agreed.
Yeah. And the guy that was doing the guy, Adam, whatever, he was saying some of the communities that he is a part of and services, they do a spring and a fall cleaning service where they will drop a bigger construction dumpster somewhere on the site. It's one of the longer, I don't know how big they are, but they're bigger. And they leave it out there for a week, and it's like a spring cleaning type thing. So in situations where you do have mattresses or box springs or so on, it is out there, you announce it a month or two ahead of time and plan for the event, and then they drop it, dump all your stuff in there, and they can just haul it away. That's, again, expensive, but it gives the community something to plan around so you don't have to take your stuff down to the dump. It's another option for us to explore if we want to go down that road.
I think my bigger concern would be like renters that don't really care. So they just dump their stuff there for the rest of us to deal with.
Yep, that is absolutely a concern, and the reason that I went as far as I did. It's a
Yeah.
risk that given especially given the financial climate of the townhomes and how price sensitive everybody is, again, understandably,
Yeah.
it's going to be a risk, and it's probably going to create a logistical concern, but we just have to deal with them, because as long as we stay on top of it, I think that we can that this will be a better choice, or at least one worth exploring for a little bit. And then if it really just doesn't work, we're not locked in for all that long. We can switch out of it.
Works for me.
If we're gonna, let's say, if we're gonna, we go to do dumpsters, instead of leaving such a big gap, we get with the company and we're leaving such a big gap to see how close and fine that we can get this, so they can't leave stuff around the dumpster, and like the door's right there, so you can't just put a mattress and just leave it there. Or so just thinking about if we do the build around, how close we can make it tight so we won't have so much junk.
Oh
So
yeah,
we just keep that in mind.
I love it. I love it. That's exactly what we did when we were talking about doing the corrals for the 96-gallon trash cans, was we knew the minimum distance between each one to make that work. That's why it didn't work. It would have made the corrals too big. But yeah, if we're going to go down the road of putting up a fence, that is definitely something that I would like to see, is what is the minimum distance they need around it, and let's just do that to make that more difficult. Like you were saying, I agree with you there.
Can we just do the motion and vote? Because I don't think a fence or anything. If someone's gonna dump some big shit out there, they're gonna dump it. It doesn't matter if there's a fence there or not. So let's just move on and deal with it when it happens.
Okay.
Kind of the reality of it. Anything else it's gonna change anything in any way, or any other thoughts? I mean, it kind of sounds like we're all kind of leaning towards dumpsters. So you know, we can just make it as simple as, is there any opposition from the board, from anybody on the board, to dumpsters at this point?
No, I'm okay with that. My vote is yes.
No.
All right, so it kind of sounds like we'll just go with the dumpster option then for now. And the big thing is just communicating it to people, letting people know where it's going to be. And you know, for anybody who's like, why did you pick that location? That was the original location of the dumpsters. So it makes sense to just, if we took the dumpsters out of there, to put the dumpsters back there, and then we'll deal with it from there. So any other I mean, that was our main point of business tonight to discuss. Is there anything else from the board that you guys want to discuss tonight?
No, we just need to get the start date for whatever date we need after that April 25th last pickup from the current company. So if we're going to be like a Friday pickup, then it would need to still be that last day of April. If not, we can do it May 2nd if they're going to stay on Mondays like we have now.
Cool. So we'll be able to communicate that information out. And when I say Eric, I want to thank you again. You really kept things moving, and Boyce and Matt, you guys have jumped in, Virginia.
Yep. Did a great job, y'all guys.
Yeah. Appreciate the effort, guys.
Thanks.
All right. That's pretty much it for business for the board then. I know we had a couple of people from the townhomes who hopped in. I don't mind sticking around for a minute to answer a few questions. If there's something that is on your mind that you're like, I just like to be able to ask a question. So if you got something, you can throw it out. I think Eric probably has to get going. I know he's got the baby and stuff. If anybody else on board wants to stick around, feel free.
Yep, I'm gonna cut out. I just got home.
Yeah, I saw you were driving home, Virginia. Have a good night.
Okay. All right. Okay, thanks.
I think he's asleep right now. So if anyone has any budget stuff, I guess I could stay on for a few minutes, but there's only like 3 or 4 people even on the
Yeah,
call.
you should definitely ask your craziest budget questions now then, because it's rare to get Eric in a mood where he's like, you know what, throw it at me, I'll help you out.
Well, it's not budget related, but basically everybody's ducking me now on the entrance. So except for SCDOT, they're responding and they can't really do anything.
And they are very helpful, but they can't do anything. That's what I ran into too. They're like, yeah, we'd love for this to happen. Get with these people, and then no one responds.
And specifically what you guys are talking about for, is the entrance is that the road's getting changed. There's more businesses or more, there's probably businesses eventually, but there's more homes going on down Harrisburg as growth keeps happening. The idea that Eric originally posed was, hey, maybe the entrance could be for the townhomes could be moved through basically the hill into the current 3-way intersection, turned into like a 4-way intersection so that the exit would work off the light. And like they said, everybody thinks that's a great idea, just nobody wants to pay for it. They're like, if you want to pay for it, that sounds amazing. I'm kind of surprised there are no budget questions from townhome owners. Usually there's something that's eating at people that they're like, what's going on with this or what's going on with that?
Hey, Rob, I'm Jenn Tobin. I don't have a question for the townhomes, and I probably have an unpopular question, so I'm really sorry.
Okay.
But wondering what's going on. I know you posted some information about the pool. Just wondering if things were on track there to be repaired before the summer season is upon us.
Yeah, I kind of laughed the other day. I don't know if it was you. I saw somebody.
It was
post
not me. It was not me.
Yeah, I saw somebody was asking, "Hey, is there an update?" And I was like, and I kind of laughed to myself because I was like, "Yeah, I posted it." So yeah, everything's as of right now, from what I understand, everything's proceeding along that path that I laid out during that thing the other day. So yeah, if you not unpopular at all, just no new info. I mean, the leak test is kind of the biggest annoyance, which the good thing was when I told them who the builder of the pool was, they were like, it's probably your main drain then, because apparently they had issues. So it kind of stuck out as there you go, that's gonna be your problem.
As I say, I think some of us long-term folks were like, God, please we hope it's not sinking again, right? So at least it's not doing that.
If you see me announcing something about, hey, the pool's gonna have a delay and I put my house up for sale, that's your signal. Get out.
That's you telling us, yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, trust me, I was concerned when I saw that there was anything to do with leaks or anything.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Anybody else? It doesn't have to be a budget question. It could be anything in the neighborhood.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
Does anybody know if there are current plans to widen Harrisburg? I know we talked about like different entrances and stuff like that, but are there current plans to widen Harrisburg?
They are going to wide each lane going each direction to 12 feet from 11 feet. And then the center lane is going to expand to 12 feet. And what they were proposing originally is a suicide lane. Actually, no, originally they were going to block off our entrance, right? And I think they caved and went to a suicide lane, which is why we're proposing the new entrance.
Right.
It lines up with Regent Parkway. But now it's just kind of, you've probably seen, if you've driven into the neighborhood, they're starting to stake it out. And it's because the neighborhoods down the street are starting to come up to grade and they're going to finish. So they're going to start doing that work probably in the next year, I would imagine, unless we get them to change that. So hopefully that works. Either way, they would be expanding. It's like a half a foot.
Okay, so like my back patio faces Harrisburg Road. Are they gonna encroach on any of that land right there? Or
No,
does anybody know?
not based on their plans, no. So the SCDOT has a certain right-of-way width, and they're not going to, they're just using that existing right of way. They have to take over a little bit, but that's HOA property and not our property. If that's helpful at all. Their I believe their plans are online.
Okay.
And it's really just like the existing edge of pavement will move out like a half a foot. So kind of where the little, it's the road's been there forever. So it's kind of, people run off the road all the time. It's kind of like a makeshift ditch, but the actual ditch that runs along Harrisburg Road will not change. So they won't come up to the wall at all.
Okay.
Anything else? I mean, this is kind of one of those pick people's brains moments. I've had that. I'm not gonna say this is gonna be my last year on the board, but I have been hardly present for a large part of this year, to the point where Eric has kind of been doing multiple jobs, keeping things flowing, which I really appreciate. And but this is my 9th year on the board, so at this point I'm kind of becoming like a historical reference of what happened before. So so if there's something that I mean, if there's anything that pops up, you guys can always email us or something. I don't ever mean to come off like I don't want to answer people's questions. If I ever do, it's probably just been a rough day, but I'm always willing to try to answer stuff. I mean, we're only on the board because we want to help out. Well, if there's nothing else, we'll let everybody kind of head out. I'll post this, hopefully everything recorded properly. It says it recorded. I'll grab it from the cloud, post it up to the YouTube page, and then maybe somebody else will see this and be like, well, I had a question, I just couldn't make it. So they can always email us at almondglenhoa@gmail.com or message me through Facebook or something, and we'll try to get an answer to any questions that might come up. So thanks everybody for being here. Especially thank you to the board for your last minute willingness to get together on this issue.
Thanks, everyone.
You guys have a great night.
You too. Thanks.